Hey guys, you're about to watch a video between me and Pack Tactics where I interview him about his content. He goes over spells and different ways to optimize the game, how dice and the numbers, they may lie to you, and how to actually optimize and make the best decisions with your limited resources. Thank you so much for watching. Check out Pack Tactics. His stuff will be down in the description below. But make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and just stick around, because with Pack Tactics, everybody has advantage. Hey everybody, my name is Colton. I am WizThrift on Instagram and YouTube, and I am here today with a creator interview. I am here with Pack Tactics, or also known as Bagpipes. Could you give yourself a little introduction, buddy?
I am Pack Tactics. I do math.
Yeah. He specifically for
D&D.
Hey, there you go. There's the word you're looking for. But yeah, Pack Tactics. He's an awesome YouTube channel. Gives a lot of honest, in my opinion, honest takes on number crunching and classes, percentages, all that stuff. But he's awesome, and yeah, we're here to talk about a little bit about things today. So, my first question for you in Bagpipes is, how long have you been playing Bagpipes? Because it's like, it's on your bio and also in your videos. There's Bagpipes.
9 years.
9 years? Okay.
I got jealous of a band, a punk rock band, a long time ago, and well, we ended up in an argument, and then I was like, I wanted to play something, right? And I tried piano, guitar, drums, and I had no fun doing it. Yeah. So then I bought like a flute like this, right?
Okay.
And I started playing that for a year, and then I found out, oh, this is for the bagpipes. So then I got me a set of bagpipes, and well, now I have a good time.
That's awesome. I think it's so funny that you were so upset with the punk rock band that you just decided to fuel that into something productive.
I get jealous very easily, right? Yeah. And usually that jealousy turns very productive. I don't know why. Hey. So it's a gift and a curse. Yeah.
I mean, it's better than being jealous and just like wallowing in your own self-pity and anger. At least you're doing something with it. And I mean, from your nickname to the music on your channel, it seems like it's going pretty well.
Yeah. I think people like it.
Yeah. I think it definitely sets you apart from other just like fantasy music that most people use on their channels.
Yeah, it's all live, and if you just like cut the audio for how I when I talk and stuff like that, and listen to what I actually play. Yeah, I mean, it's all live and stuff like that. But here and there, you can hear some errors and stuff like that. So there's like very human elements into it. And well, I mean, I like that. I've never bothered to correct that. And it adds a character to the whole, the video. Yeah. So, and I mean, I don't know if people pick that up, but oh well. I'm
sure they will now. Now that they know that you aren't perfect, I'm sure they'll be looking for the mistakes.
I mean,
Oh, that's awesome.
Fine.
And I like that. You're well. You said you've cast disguise self right now. So I mean, as your true self as a kobold, you're wearing a kilt and kind of that. What is that called? What's that outfit called?
What that outfit is called?
Yeah.
Great Highland kilts.
Okay. So okay, gotcha. I don't know much about it all, so okay, nice. That's awesome. I mean, it just fits with your theme, with who you are. So I think it's pretty cool. And I wanted to know about what drove you and your bagpipes.
Well, we're here to talk about D&D.
Yes, we are. So my next question: how long, and how did you get started? Sorry. How long have you been playing D&D, and how did you get started with it?
So, my first system was Pathfinder.
Okay.
Yeah, and really because I joined Pathfinder was, well, 4E just came out, and I was curious about the, role-playing games because, this endless freedom intrigued me.
Yeah.
So I looked on the internet and people were like, oh, 4E was shit, and so buy this. So I bought that, and I played it for a year, and every game I ran, crashed and burned, but it still intrigued me, even though they crashed and burned, because, well, I mean, the freedom aspect in my head, like, it intrigued me so much.
Mm-hmm.
And, as time went on, I started trying other systems like 3.5 and Call of Cthulhu. I played Call of Cthulhu for 2 years, and that really imprinted how I DM, because now I run very grim, dark, settings.
Yeah.
And, awesome. And then near Sanathar, when Sanathars came out, that's when I joined.
Okay.
And then eventually Tretmonk joined the YouTube scene, and he set up a Discord. And from there, I got involved into optimization and number crunching and all that. I basically ran that server for a long time as a head mod.
Yeah.
And now I'm retired, and now I do these videos.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, I think Xanathars is probably one of the best books to come out of 5th edition so far.
Yes, Xanathars is my favorite book of all times. Yeah. It is awesome.
Yeah. Well, what do you like? Why do you like it so much? Is it just because like the new subclasses or the items, or what is it?
So, the scrolls rules, which will be a video. Yeah. It's very, I wouldn't say it's heavy, but there's a lot of information. But scrolls is super important.
Yeah.
The subclasses and Gloomstalker and of course Hexblade. Everybody worships the Hexblade,
Yep.
And there's just a bunch of good stuff in there, which I really enjoy. So yeah. But mainly for Gloomstalker and Hexblade.
yeah. No, I would say, because pretty much like if you go on to, well, we talked about if you go on to Reddit, or any like forums, talking about multi-classing, Hexblade is usually fighter, Hexblade, and Paladin are usually like in there, and they don't even talk about Warlock. They just say the Hexblade. Like that's
absolutely. And it was in Sanathar days. I mean, like, everybody was in the Hexblade cult. It was crazy.
Yeah. And
you would see, like, in the optimization, you would always see, like, 2 levels in Hexblade and absolutely everything.
Yeah.
Because it was just so good. But, a lot of interesting things have come out of it. Like, for example, this build is not really popular for some odd reason, but it's the most unique build, in my opinion, ever, which is called Force Slants. I don't know if you've heard about it.
I have not. This is first.
So, it's popular in optimization, and I'm going to do a video of it eventually, of a revamped version that's even better. But
Sweet.
the concept basically is, when somebody approaches you, you have your reaction to, like, attack back. But when you attack, you could do Eldritch Blast instead because you have Warcaster.
Yeah.
And the idea is the Warcaster is going to push the guy back, 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 feet.
Yeah.
Because he's doing Eldritch Blast. So that means, like, for example, 4 shots.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's, like, the whole concept. Like, well, I don't want the enemies to approach my friends. Yeah. So as soon as they approach me, and he gets sent back. Yeah, that's the whole concept.
That's pretty cool.
And,
I mean, it's like it wastes their movement. It definitely keeps your allies safe. So.
Yeah, it uses every action. It uses standard action, bonus action, and reaction. Like almost every single rounds.
Yeah.
Which is very big. There's not a lot of builds that actually do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Dang, that's really cool. Yeah, I one thing I've found is, at least for me, because I don't play too often. I mainly am a dungeon master, but for me, I found that sometimes it's hard to use all those things. Whether it is, obviously most turns you're going to use your action for something, but then a lot of players, especially newer ones, they struggle to use their bonus action or their reaction because they just don't realize they have them, or they're not actually looking at their sheet. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I play with more experienced, but I'm aware of them. I don't really say much, but I do hint like, "Are you sure you end your turn here? Are you forgetting something?" Or like I give them little clues, and I mean, eventually they're like, "Oh wait, no, I meant to cast a Hunter's Mark, for example." Which is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think because it's all about action economy, especially for combat. And so, if they're doing something, whatever your opinions on Hunter's Mark or Hex or whatever, spell. I think it's important, to at least help them understand, hey, there are more options than just to attack. There are these other options for you.
I DM a lot too, by the way. And
I could tell.
I'm very opposites the way I DM because then I'm like looking at it from another aspect. Like, okay, well, we're throwing all these combats, and I want them intrigued and engaged like 100% of the time. Yeah, and that includes combat because I've been to. I've not been to many of them because I live in Norway, right? Like tables, physical table. I don't know if you do. You live in where?
Idaho. So I've been to a lot of in-person physical tables.
Yeah. Just a question for you. Like, how many times have you seen them? The other players, for example, on their phones or distracted or something like that.
For me, I won't name any names, but there is definitely at least one player every single game on their phone.
Yeah, so the goal is in combat when that person's on. There needs to be something interesting in the fights, and that's what I strive to do every single time. And that includes like, this is the perfect setup for okay, the players can doorway dodge here. Maybe they will dodge here. Maybe they won't. I hope they dodge here. If they do, because that's more interesting. Because you're using different actions rather than I walk up and attack.
Yeah.
It gives more stimuli to the brain. But with regular people, they might not process that. But you got to somehow train them into that mentality. Like there's broader things, use the environment, use your spells, use everything, throw everything. You're fighting to survive. Sure, the fight itself might not be difficult, but as time goes, like you'll have 1 encounter, 2 encounters, 3 encounters, 4 encounters, and then you might short rest, and 5 encounters, 6 encounters. It just keeps going and going and going and going. Yeah.
Yeah. No, sorry, what were you gonna
say? That's how I run.
Yeah. That's definitely way more intense than I do. I tend to focus more on the roleplay aspect of it, and which for me, like I struggle with running combat. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like I just have a hard time keeping track of everything, but I mean, do you have any advice for people like me that struggle running like maybe super engaging combat?
So I mean, role play is really easy, right? And I do that too a lot, but when it comes to like combats, the hint is kind of in the title of the game. You have to throw something that's called a dungeon, right? And from there, you know, you have these rooms and there's creatures in there. Like every single module does this. Yeah. And really, what you're supposed to do, you don't have to throw like a physical dungeon, but you have to throw something that's similar to a dungeon. And that can be like waves of hordes, like attacking the city. It's a bunch of kobolds attacking the city. You know, you have wave 1, you know, the easy guys. Wave 2, oh no, they got like drakes and stuff. Wave 3, oh no, it's the boss with his little minions. Wave 4, maybe throw the dragon, you know, like. So it's stuff like that. Like you always have to keep the ball going and going and going. Okay. The breaks, I mean, you can have a little bit of like a breathing room here and there. Yeah. But you gotta pressure them a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
But you don't have to brew monsters to do this, because all the books that's provided are, I mean, let's like get into that debate, because that's a hot mess.
Whole other thing.
Yeah, but they're good enough, is what I'm saying. Okay. To get the job of pressure done. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So yeah, just keep on a bit of pressure, even like just throughout the time. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and also, you know, another thing is, your players might not be optimizers or anybody into crunch, but what they are engaged in are, you know, obviously character stuff. They let's say you run a new game, right? And they made their characters. You know, Steven wanted to make a barbarian. Yeah. Obviously, he wants to test out that barbarian and test out this feature, and he multi-class into, I don't know, whatever the hell barbarians do. Yeah. And so, obviously, he wants to test that out. So then you throw like an easy encounter or a medium encounter, and he tests it out, because he's going to use his ability right away, and he's going to be like, "Oh, I'm overpowered here." That's exactly what I want. That's exactly what you want. You want him to like be like super engaged, and you throw the next fight, and then you throw the next fight, and then resources get really difficult, and that's when the pressure begins. Okay. Where was I going? So, by the way, guys, I'm a little bit drunk, so.
And I think you're doing pretty good for being a little tipsy. So. No, so my question was how, you know, advice for people to help improve their combat. But I think you got it right, is help them feel powerful so they're engaged, and then slowly dwindle down their resources. So that way it'll be kind of scary, have some pressure, and then they'll be trying to think outside the box. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, so the heart of the game is really in the title of the game, the dungeon part. So you gotta throw something that's kind of like a dungeon at the players, because this is a resource game. And the modules themselves, they show that. But I don't know if anywhere in the book it says like an advice like that. Like, you have to throw something like a dungeon. This is a resource game. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think, especially with 5th edition and their philosophy behind it, at least this is what I think, is they're keeping it much more fluid and kind of like, hey, do what you guys want. We won't tell you how to do it. I think that's kind of what Wizards of the Coast has been doing with it.
I mean, I think that's... I think that's brilliant, right? Yeah. But at the same time, not really. I'm not into game design or anything, but like I really like self-discovery of players and people, and you know. So, and there's still to this day a lot to actually find. And well, I'm one of these guys trying to find them. And while I'm looking at the numbers and other things, and if this is the right move or that is the right move.
Yeah.
A different topic rather than builds like everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
I am so burnt out of builds.
Yeah.
You won't believe.
Oh, I mean, well, you're a numbers guy, and so you've obviously been into optimization, or at least that's what it seems like. And so seeing all these different builds, there are so many out there. There's I would say there's almost too many.
There's too many.
And it's nice to, if I need to look up something like, hey, I'm playing one shot, I want to be powerful, I want this certain thing to work. It is nice to get that, but there is too many.
There's too many, and well, I mean, a lot of them are pretty bad. But I mean, it's okay. People have fun making them, so who am I to judge?
Yeah.
But I used to be, like I said, the head mod of Trent Monk, and I ran something called the finished build lists there. And I gatekept it for like, well, you had to beat the Warlock baseline in order to post here, right? And they would submit something, and then I would crunch, like, okay, at level 5 you meet this, that's good. At level 11 you meet this, that's good. At this level you meet this, you're good. So then the build is good, I can post it, and everybody look at it, and blah 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 blah. And I did that for like a whole year, and I got burnt out.
Yeah.
And then I started crunching every single Cobalt build, actually, like I could possibly make. And then I started DMing, because then I knew, okay, I know what they can do with advantage, like all these builds with advantage. So now I know absolutely everything the players are doing, no matter what, like numbers wise ish. So then I'm ready to DM, and I know how to make monsters and blah 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 blah. So I built up my confidence by just making builds.
Yeah.
And crunching everything. Yeah.
No, that's really
that's
cool.
how I DM.
Yeah. No, I think that's cool, especially like it helps you be prepared. It helps you kind of know, like you said, what the players are going to do or what they are doing. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. How do you DM?
I am like, I'm pretty big into the role play and improvising parts, and I have been trying to put in more combat. Because I know there are certain players who want more of that, and because I want to get better at it, and so my players are
Improvisation's a very useful skill to have.
It is. It's really fun for me, especially. I really enjoy that, especially my players when they do something that they think is going to throw me off, and then I just I roll with it, and I'm able to like get past it without any issue, and they're like, he knew, he had it planned. I'm like, no, this whole sequence, I had no idea what was going on. I just was pulling it out of my butt.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's really useful. I did the same, really.
Yeah.
But I don't actually prepare the monsters. Sometimes really? I prepare. Yeah, I mean, what did I say now? Sometimes I don't prepare the monsters. Yeah. Sometimes I prepare them while in combat.
Yeah.
So when I know, like, oh wow, I mean, like, for example, I don't know. Let me think here. I throw vampires, right?
Yeah. Okay.
At my players. And I know they're winning, and they're going to take a round or two to finish them off, the rest of them. That's when I prepare. I pull out like a calculator and put it in something, and look up on Kobold Fight Club, for example, and slap something in there. So then I'm prepared for the next room.
Yeah,
that's how I do it. But I've been doing this for a while now. You might not be that good in improvisation, but it's a useful skill to have.
It is. One thing I do with the monsters is I don't always read the full stat block. I should, but I don't always read the full stat block. But then once the players start kind of beating them down, that's when I'll bring out their abilities, because like, you know, at first the monster didn't think these people would be a threat, and now as I'm reading through it, I'm like, I'm bringing out their abilities and their spells and whatnot, because like, oh, I have to fight for my life now, or oh, I'm gonna run away. So that's kind of how I run monsters.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. You know,
yeah.
I'm the opposite. Where I just throw the biggest thing. Oh, here's fireball.
Yeah, one time I threw a Hydra, just a basic Hydra at my players, and I didn't realize that if each head takes 25 damage, 25 fire damage, it just dies. I didn't realize that, and so my player, who is a pyromaniac, she just kept throwing fireballs and was like, crap, it's dead. And it was supposed to be this big encounter, and then all of a sudden, just like after 2 rounds, it's dead. I'm like, oh, that's that's tracks.
I mean, you know, that's good enough, because the player gets so much joy out of that.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, and that's a win for you, even though you might think, oh, that should have been epic, you know, but let them have it.
It's true, and that's actually the thing that I've struggled with a lot, is because I want to have these epic battles where it's like grueling and they have to earn their win, but a lot of times I am actually much happier when they're able to beat it and just get past it.
Absolutely. My player, I'm like the biggest fan of my players.
Yeah.
And that's how you should approach things, you know? If they cheese the dragon, like hypothetically, like, Steve is a power gamer and he cheesed the dragon by like, I don't know. But just let him have it. It's fun. It's fun for them, and he's got a smile on his face and everything. Yeah,
no, I definitely agree, and I like, I don't struggle with that as much anymore, but it's still sometimes in the back of my head I'm like, this is the BBEG. It's got to be difficult, but then, you know, they beat them decently quick, and I'm like, no, they earned it. They did a good job. They prepared and they got through the fight because they did teamwork and they were actually prepared for it. So
yeah, absolutely. And here's some I saw this. I've seen this a few times, and I've actually adopted it a little bit.
Okay.
And you know, this is homebrew stuff.
Yeah.
And basically, you know, for example, you throw the BBEG, and you kill them fast because, well, your players plan for it. So then you just introduce, oh, here's phase 2. He dies, but his body explodes into, now he's a demon man, you know?
Yeah.
And players are like, oh my god, what?
yeah.
You know, and that's a lot of fun. And then, you know, if they finish that encounter easy with all that legendary resistance and legendary actions and stuff like that, throw another one. Like, why not?
Yeah.
And then those be like, what? 3? Yeah, 3.
There's actually 10. No. I think that'd be a little excessive. They might actually die at that point. Yeah. No, I actually tonight is probably going to be one of the final sessions of this little arc that they're doing, and they're fighting this Draco Lich, and they killed the outer body, but once the outer body died, I called it, oh, you guys beat the shell. But then a shadow dragon came out, and I'm like, this is the actual like spirit of the Draco Lich, and they're like, oh, and so now we're about to embark on that journey of them fighting the shadow dragon.
Damn, that's fun.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to run that. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're getting to about half an hour now, but I just have one more question for you, Bagpipes. How did you get so good at number crunching and percentages?
I mean, good. I'm actually not that good at math.
Okay.
So there's a group. Shoutouts to Tabletop Builds, right? Okay. They're a website link. They do builds and stuff like that.
Cool.
But they kind of do what RPG Bot does, but more, you know, I'd say they're more up here because, well, they really crunch things and stuff like that. Like, they're crazy people. They're about like 40 people, making these stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm one of them. And we talk about math, and like we've all come together to crunch everything and figure out everything and figure out the game. And while I'm not that good at math, but I do the math. Yeah. And as time developed, it's all stuck in my head. Yeah. When I started doing these crunches was really when Tripmunk released his video about DPR.
Gotcha.
With the Warlock baseline, I decided, okay, I'm gonna learn that baseline, and I'm gonna learn how to crunch this, because obviously adding the dice is deceiving, and it's not proper to like what the table is, because creatures have AC. You never have 100% chance to hit.
Yeah.
So I decided to learn that, and then look at everything, and that's what I do now.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
No, I think that's really cool, because I'm not very good at math either. I've always struggled with it, but I mean that's good to know that there are those resources out there and good places to start. So that's really awesome.
Oh yeah, and I wouldn't say they're too hard either. Yeah. Like all the formulas, I tried to post every formula in my video, and you'll notice like similarities in them, like how they're structured, and you can literally like grab one of them and then put in like a different thing. Like, okay, I want to figure out what sneak does on average on like a 13 AC creature, and then you'll find out, oh, it does 2.32 or whatever, and you can translate that like, oh, what happens if I add an extra dice? What do I get then? Maybe you get 5, and then eventually to 9, 12, whatever, right? Yeah. So, yeah, everything is there. And I want people to calculate that like that, because then we all learn, and then we can talk about numbers better, These numbers aren't scary or anything like that, even though people do think they're scary because, power gamers and blah, 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 blah. But no, the numbers are fun, and you learn from them. You want to figure out the numbers.
That's cool. Yeah, I know a lot of people, being a power gamer or a min-maxer is seen as this really bad thing to a lot of people. Yeah, I don't see a problem with it as long as you're still, playing the game, and you're not just trying to be the best, but you're helping out the party, and you're role playing that.
You're helping out the party and role playing. Don't be an asshole.
Exactly.
And these numbers, these numbers do not only help you as a player, it also helps you as a DM, because you know what they're doing. And you can also bring that to the monsters when you're creating monsters. Because, that's what people do. People bring monsters. And you know, oh, that's the real DPR, what that monster is. Instead of, oh, I throw that monster, one hit KO. So, yeah. Math is useful.
It is. It is.
Even though this is a very easy game. Yeah. But I still think it's very useful to know them.
Yeah. I think we need to collect as much knowledge as possible. And being a dungeon master, there's a lot you got to put into it. But I think being able to add these tools to our belts and being able to, I'm sure a lot of those formulas, and you're just able to kind of put them probably pretty quickly, right?
I wouldn't say quickly, but I mean decently, And I know the human errors and stuff like that. You got to be aware of the human errors. If not, and then you got to be aware, of how deceiving the numbers can be sometimes. Because there's traps when you see big numbers, right? Because, especially as players, when you see big numbers, they're so appealing. Like, oh, I just did like 70 DPR.
Yeah.
This must be good. But in context of things, maybe it's not good as you think it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's just an example.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I really, I feel like I've learned a lot today. Well, and what was that website that you were talking about calculating numbers?
Tabletop Builds.
Tabletop Builds. Okay, I'll put it down in the description, and I'll spread it around.
Yeah, they make classes, well, builds what I mean.
Yeah.
And then they analyze like what it means to pick an ASI versus a feat and what that means mathematically. They're more advanced than me, but I help them out, and you know,
cool.
I help them, they help me. So
yeah.
it's a friendship.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's really cool. I and like I told you before, I really love meeting new creators or just creators and learning, you know, why they do stuff or how they do stuff. And so it's really cool to be able to meet you, and after watching your videos and stuff, and you know, being able to meet at least the human side of you. I don't know if you're actually a human or not, but yeah.
No, I'm a kobold.
yes, you're just really good disguised self. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Sweet. Well, hey, Bagpipes, thank you so much for sitting down with me. I know it's really late for you in Norway, where it's just the afternoon for me. But thank you so much.
Nice to meet you, Colton.
Yeah. And hey, what do you want to shout out? What do you want to tell the people about?
Next video, I mean, if you're viewing it right now, is probably going to be Good Berries or Pass Without Trace. I'm going to be talking about good berry juggling, although I've kind of already made the video, but I feel like it needs its own video.
Yeah.
Because I want people to do good berry juggling. So, yeah.
Sweet.
Do you know what good berry juggling
I
is?
have no idea, but it sounds interesting.
Well, you'll learn a lot about rangers and druids then.
I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will. For sure. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much, Bagpipes. It really was a pleasure to talk to you.
All right.
Sweet. I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.
Yeah, good night.
Bye.
Bye.